We have 2 prepared speakers and 3 table topics. And one thing that we have the agenda changes. So Ruby Ghana's evaluator is the Christina. So welcome management rep Scott. Scott, welcome you to our Fluor Communicators.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So we don't have a guest so far. So for today, for today's health, safety, and environment tip, I'd like to take the opportunity to remind everyone to replace home furnace filter if you haven't done so. So ensure it every 3 months.
Excuse me, I can't hear anything. Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I'm supposed to time, but I can't hear Monica.
Oh, so did other people can hear me? Can other people hear me? So let me try my best. I close to the computer to see how it works.
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, maybe
just Doris. Okay, go ahead.
just okay.
Yeah.
So I'd like to take the opportunity to remind everyone to replace home furnace filter if you haven't done so. Ensure change it every 3 months, which recommend manufacturers. Make sure select correct size, put in the right location, and the arrow indicating airflow direction towards the furnace. And choose appropriate efficiency for your own application to maintain good indoor air quality while getting enough heating and cooling capacity. As we know, the higher the efficiency, the bigger resistance to the airflow, and the less heating and cooling capacity can get. So this is the HSE topic for today. So now I'd like to introduce today's word master, Ben. Please welcome Ben to present the word of the day.
Thanks, Monica. So you may know the word foodie means someone love food, enjoy food, have fine taste of food, and not because of they are being hungry, because they have passion of food. And you may also familiar with, can everyone hear me? So you may also know the word gourmet has similar meaning. Today I'm going to share with you another word. Okay, let me share with the screen now. So gastronome, and has some similar meaning, someone who enjoys and knows about high quality food and drink. And so there's another synonym, epicure. So if you can use the word gastronome or epicure, we will wave hands and give you credit. Back to you, Madam Chairperson. Monica.
Monica, you're muted.
It calling for me to speak? I missed that.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yes.
sorry, I apologize. So I'd like to introduce today's joke master, Bob. Bob, please provide the joke of the day for a humorous moment. Thanks.
Well, I'm sorry, everybody. I'm not really in the mood to tell a joke today. I had something happen to me this morning, and I'm really still pretty upset. At about 9 o'clock this morning, the doorbell rang, and it was Calgary bylaw. And they said that my dog had gotten out of the backyard and was chasing somebody on a bicycle. Well, I knew it wasn't my dog because he doesn't even own a bicycle. Madam Chairperson.
It's a great joke. Thanks, Bob. So now is the time for Jim. He's today's joke master. Jim, please go ahead.
Thank you, Monica. I think, yes, I am the Toastmasters for today. And thank you, Ben, for the word of the day, and also Bob for that very humorous joke. We have table topic questions as usual, and we also have two great speakers. I think we have still the two speakers scheduled. So two great speakers, Ruby and Tammy, will be delivering speeches. But before we start with the speeches, we have the table topics that's led by our very own Stephen Young. When I asked Stephen Young for his thoughts on the team, this is what he had to say. My wife and daughter started making bread and stuffed buns a couple of years ago. The quality is almost as good as the ones you get from the store. There are examples that as long as you have passion, there's nothing you cannot learn from the internet. So please help me welcome Stephen to lead this table topic session.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I'm sure I'm the gastronome. For sure, I'm food lover. And since today's theme is about the bread and food, and we will bring some topics about food and meal. Of course, the table topics is the impromptu speeches, and the purpose of that is help individual members to think on feet and provide a speech on any subject within 1 to 2 minutes. In a formal contest, less than 1 minute or more than 2.5 minutes will be disqualified. And the timer will time 1 minute for green, 1.5 for yellow, and 2 minutes for red. As I mentioned, the table talks today are all related to food. The first topic is, what's your least favorite food and why? Think about that. I will call any of the members or the guest or managed rep to participate. Do I have a volunteer? If not, can I ask Scott if you are comfortable to speak out?
Sure, you can ask. Yeah, absolutely. So what is my least favorite food? Brussels sprouts. And why? It's like you're eating a mini cabbage for some reason, and it just turns me right off. I have nothing against cabbage, but it's just too complicated for me to get my head around.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, everyone has a list. I have the noodles as my least favorite food. The second table topic is probably most people are familiar with. And this is, what's your favorite meal and why? I would like to call our own Table Talks champion of the area, Shelley Werner, to give us a speech and have her more practice on the table talks to advance to division and district.
I'm trying to remember the question.
What is your most memorable meal you have?
My most memorable meal.
Shelley Werner. What is the most memorable meal?
I love to eat. It is one of my favorite things to do. And sometimes when I tell people this, they go, but you're so tiny. How is it possible that you love to eat? That you are, in fact, a gastronome who loves to try new things, taste new adventures. I would say one of my favorite meals was one I had in Vietnam. I love the fact that they have interesting textures and delicious smells, and you can eat even at a roadside stand. One time we were driving along the road in Vietnam with driving in Vietnam. It's basically not driving, it's avoiding. You basically are avoiding all the other traffic because they come towards you without any regard for what side of the road they're on. And I remember the tour guide pulled us over to a roadside stand, and it looked very sketchy. It was very dim inside, and we walked in with trepidation. We weren't sure, what are we going to eat? Now, I had told my kids, only eat food that is cooked. Do not eat raw things. And if you have any doubt about what it is, don't put it in your mouth. Every meal that we ate, I used to think to myself, do I have a vision of me like throwing up later? When I think of this meal, am I going to remember it as the last meal I ever ate and enjoyed? Well, we went into this roadside stand and the guide ordered for us. And it was the most memorable and delicious meal I ever had. We had pho, which is a soup with noodles. We had basically like donuts, which were all fried that we were able to eat with chopsticks. We had a melon salad. It was the most memorable meal I ever had, never to be repeated. And I treasure that memory. It involved my family, a foreign culture, and I'm pleased to have had it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Sherry, that was a great speech. I know that in foreign local food is always kind of memorable event of meal for you. And we have another topic, which is, what is your most food? What is your most food? Can I have any volunteer, please?
Sheree's got her hand up.
Oh, Sheree, go ahead, please.
What does it mean, most food, Stephen?
Most favorite food.
Oh, okay. Can I talk about least favorite?
Of course.
Okay.
That's also one of the topics I prepared.
Okay. I am just going to share something. Let's see. Do you see this? This is a photo of food that we ordered when we were in Israel in 2016. So my husband and me, we went there for Baha'i pilgrimage, and I really wanted to try everything local. And this dish is an eggplant dish. Only Jewish people order it. And I said, you know, I'm here to experience culture. So the owner of the restaurant came to me and he said that I recommend you not order this dish. And I said, you know, we came from Canada. We have such a variety of food there. We eat every food from any culture. So I want to try it. Bring me the most cultural food. And I could only eat 2 tablespoons of it. And I am not a picky eater. I'll eat anything. So the owner of the restaurant was right. I had only 2 tablespoons. And what I felt was that they have summarized the taste of Holocaust in this dish. That's how it tasted to me. I couldn't eat it. And my husband, it's even more. It's everything. He loves every food and he wouldn't complain from any food. And he only could have 1 tablespoon and that was it. So if you go to Israel and you see this dish, don't eat it.
Thank you, Sheree. That is so unique experience for sure. With that, I'm turning back to Jim, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Stephen, and thank you to the speakers who volunteered and were brave enough to share their experiences. And certainly it's lunchtime and definitely it makes us look hungry even, or I had something earlier and I feel like I need to go get something else to eat too, so thank you. Our next session is speeches. And our first speaker is Ruby. And I was told that Christina is going to be evaluating her speech. Christina, could you introduce Ruby's speech and also tell us the timing, please?
Thanks so much, Jim. It's with great pleasure that I will be evaluating Ruby's speech. It is her second speech from her HPL, so she will tell us what she learned in her leadership journey. The purpose is for her to practice planning, organizing, leading, and implementing an event. Her event was our celebration last June, and the title is Rising to Higher Ground. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. The timing is 5 to 7 minutes. Rising to Higher Ground, Ruby Ghana, Rising to Higher Ground.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Just a correction, it's Managing Successful Events, Level 5 project, Rising to Higher Ground. Did you know at Fluor Communicators, every year we have an annual celebration? This is to celebrate members' successes, induct new members, and install new executives into office. This year, though, we lost access to our venue, but we didn't lose any steam as a club. Today, I'm here to share how I stepped up to plan, organize, and implement a fully online virtual celebration event with the support of members from our club. There are 3 stages to the process of making an event successful, according to the curriculum in this project. If you're planning your next event for the club, I suggest following this process. ACE. A, acquire resources. C, create the plan. And E, executing your plan. These 3 basic steps allowed me to deliver a successful event. And here is how. A, acquiring resources. One of the first things I did was set up a discussion meeting with our seasoned members, Lisa and Marcy, and understand the list of resources and needs to pull off an event such as this. We had always done it as an in-person meeting in the past. I gathered information. I learned how many people would be needed and who can I approach to help me. Lisa and Marcy eventually became members of my program planning committee. The next step was building my team. I reached out to specific members who had expertise and the motivation to help me. My team wonderful, fantastic team included Amanda Price as the social media specialist, Shelley Warner, who had just joined our club a few months ago as the table topics presenter, Matt, an experienced member of the club, as the special showcase panel presenter, and Irma as the MC of the whole event, which is the Toastmaster position in a regular meeting. Creating the plan, the next step. Next came the planning for our team. Our team members got together to discuss who is doing what and the areas we each needed help with. I made sure that we had weekly check-in meetings so that anyone who had a question or was looking for resources could ask for help. We had email follow-ups as a backup for those who couldn't attend meetings. Amanda volunteered to create the creative content and the social media post plan. One of the things of this project is creating a communication plan. And Amanda ended up creating 4 Facebook posts and content that could be reused in emails. Shelley took charge of coming up with the theme and the PowerPoint to display her table topics. Matt planned the format of his panel, how he should approach it, and questions for his panel discussion with inputs from Christina Cruz and myself. Irma and I worked on developing a minute-by-minute agenda and practicing the day off. Okay, what happens after this? Who's going next? Lisa was working on the officer installation segment, and Marcy was individually working on the educational recognition segment. Daniel was our past president working on the Of the Year awards. And I was working on making an awesome montage video of everything that we had achieved in the past year. E, executing the plan. Once the tasks were delegated and each leader was empowered with the information they needed, I observed our team worked like a well-oiled machine. I have to admit though, without the support of my program planning team members, Marcy and Lisa, it was they who helped me make dynamic changes to the program. We went through the sequence at least a couple of times because, mind you, unlike a regular meeting, we had 7 segments to this meeting. The second segments are, we had a speech, we had new members induction, new officers installation, special showcase panel, of the year awards, educational achievement, and montage video. 7 segments, all jam-packed in 1.5 hours. So we had to decide to extend the format to 1.5 hours. And on the day of this celebration, we wrapped off the meeting by 1:34 p.m., just 4 minutes over. I'm really proud of my team members who helped me make this event such a massive success. The social media buzz created by Amanda's post generated upwards of 900 views and tremendous engagement in our D42 community. Here are some examples, or may I say, here are some of the artwork that was created by Amanda as part of the social media campaign for this event. Panel showcase. This was a special segment envisioned by Matt and delivered. We had 409 people each on this through this post, 10 likes and shares. Each time we share, we generate more buzz for our club. This generated 410 views. Brainchild of Amanda. And this post also generated 410 reach. Therefore, in conclusion, I hope that you can apply ACE and ACE your next event. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Ruby. Certainly enjoyed the speech and also the slides and the hot air balloon, which is quite nice. I went on one of them myself and it was quite terrifying, but this picture in your background reminded me so. Okay, before we go to the next speaker, I'd like to give the evaluator 1 minute to put our thoughts together. So Doris, I'm not sure if you're still online. Please allow us 1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute is up.
Thank you. I'm glad you have the audio issue resolved. So
Yeah, I agree.
Good. Our next speaker is Tammy Fernett, and Shelley will be evaluating her. Shelley, could you introduce Tammy's speech and also give us the timing, please?
This is Tammy's motivational pathway that she is on. This is her second pathway. This is a speech from level 1. And the timing for the speech will be green at 5 minutes, amber at 6, and red at 7. And as we've just seen, we congratulate her on her previous accomplishment and watch how she takes on the new one. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Tammy Fernett, the floor is yours.
Or the title of this, I'm sorry, I thought you were going to give the title of the speech. I can do so if you're not. The title.
Please do. I don't have it on me. So.
Okay. Tammy Fernett, what's the title? What's the title, Tammy Fernett?
It's been such a whirlwind this past month. There's been so many contests and so many speeches. I must say, they've really riveted at my heart, really touched the personal strings of storytelling, and really are empowering. As Shelley just done for me, you introduce your speaker, you give it the title, your title, and then the speaker's name. And then the contestants off and running and providing us with their story. Their story is so personal to them. It is nothing that we've heard from before. There's so much enthusiasm in their stories. They come to it with props. One gentleman even started off his speech by singing, which I will save you from today. They're very polished. The words they use are riveting in order to engage us with their speech. But what I must say, and what I did notice, I forgot partway through what was the title of their speech. And then it dawned on me as to, does it really matter? As the speech pulled at my heartstrings, as it is a personal journey, and a lot of them were humorous, based on some of their past experiences that we learned a lot about. But then it got me thinking as to, when is a title really important? And we're going to talk about 3 times or 3 different situations I think a title is really important. It's when you're setting up for a meeting. Now, I know by show of hands that you guys are with me on this. How many times have you gone into a meeting where there's no title, no purpose, and no agenda? I can do a show of hands, and I can probably do a couple of fists as to how many times I've attended those meetings. And it actually don't even know if you got the right participants or what you're there to accomplish. And what that normally ends up having to do is, by golly, we're going to have another meeting. And it was another lost hour. And then when you're doing presentations or you're providing as a guest speaker, I would say, please let your audience know what the title of your speech is and what the purpose is, so then you can engage them and they know that they're actually at the right meeting and that they're going to get something out of it that they're expecting. Otherwise, they may be wasting their time. But I must tell you, my true fame of when a title is really important to me is when I love wandering around Indigo and chapters. I must say that when I look at the front of the books, the title appeals to me. But then I look and I must read the back of the book to see, is it of any more interest? And I will tell you a lady that sparks my interest quite a bit for her books. And her name is Joyce Meyer. And she actually has a lot of great books of the power of positive thinking, confidence. I helped another lady yesterday with giving her a couple of different books as to Battlefield of the Mind. Or I read Dale Carnegie's books, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Or the favorite one that I really need to learn a lot about is How Do I Listen? Or even some of the soft skills as to how do you improve in the communication you have with others and make sure that they're gaining what you expect and you are both communicating on the same level. And making sure that you're learning and growing from these books. Now, I will say that there is times when I will sit on a Sunday afternoon, especially when it's that miserable rainy weather or snow, and I'll pick up one of those smut books of like the Nora Roberts and one of those romances. And I must say that it does keep me occupied for like 8 hours until I finish the book, because I just have to keep going as to what's happening and, oh my God, what's going on with that character? Oh, when are they going to tie up? I need to know. And I just have to finish. And I have found myself at midnight or early wee hours of the morning trying to finish a bloody book and then can't keep my eyes open for work the next day because I'm just overtired. And it's like, that ending, I don't even know why I cared for that book, because it's like, it's done. It's now over. But will I have to admit, and what I'd struggle with is even with those books, I never remember the title. I don't know what it is or what it could be. Is maybe it's because I have a hard time connecting with it, or it's just not that important to me. But I must say, does the title really matter? Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Tammy. What a fantastic speech. Thank you for sharing that. And certainly you mentioned a couple of my favorite books along the way in your speech. Okay, so we're gonna give Shelley a minute to put our thoughts together.
One minute is up now.
Okay, thank you, Doris. So this actually wraps up all the speeches and table topics. Now we're moving on to evaluation. And what Toastmaster is really great at is providing feedback for everyone to improve on. And before we get to the evaluations, Doris, could you share with us the timing for the table topics and speeches for our evaluators?
Sure, I will do that. The table topics for Scott was 25 seconds. Shelley, 2 minutes, 7 seconds. Showray, 2 minutes, 3 seconds. And for the prepared speeches, Ruby's speech was 7 minutes and 28 seconds, and Tammy's 6 minutes and 15 seconds. And I just want to apologize. I was actually timing. I don't know whether you timed the introduction for Monica, and my apologies for the interruption because I didn't quite know whether you did that or not. So that's the timer's report for today for table topics and prepared speeches.
Thank you so much. You did great. Thank you, Doris. I think you've done everything right so far, so no worries. No need to apologize. And going forward with the evaluations, our table topics evaluator is our very own Marcy Field. Marcy Field.
Thank you, Master Toastmaster. Mr. Toastmaster. To be talking today about Epicurean events because I am a gastronome. I love food. And today's theme of the day was about, have I tried homemade bread? Yes, I did. I used to even grind my own wheat to make bread. Want to talk about that? We can talk about it later. Thank you, Stephen, for preparing a table topics that was tied into our theme and provided people the opportunity to talk about their favorite food, their least favorite food, and perhaps what else they experience, their gastronomic journeys. We got to go around the world with it. First, Scott, Brussels sprouts. I've got a recipe for you that might just change your mind. What I would like to thank you for is stepping up and taking on the topic in a short period of time. I would encourage you to think more about why you don't like Brussels sprouts. This is the 1 minute impromptu speech to do, and we would like it if you can stretch out, have a few more facts about it, that would add and enhance to it. I love that you just talked about the texture and how it reminded you of little cabbages. And I think you had some very graphic descriptions that other people who don't like Brussels sprouts would relate to. The next one, Shelley. I love, as always, your use of words whenever you are describing. You have such a great range of vocabulary that goes with that. Trepidation was one of the marvelous words that you brought out with that. You also had a great use of vocal variety as you took us through this journey, and you talked about what was safe, and your voice even lowered as you went into this place to dine when you got off the bus, off with the tour. You took us with you through that vocal variety. You took us through the experience and shared that with us in this 2-minute clip. Sheree, thank you for stepping up and sharing not your favorite food, but your least favorite food. What I observed is you took the time in switching it around and asking the question before. In your table topics presentation, I would encourage you, instead of letting that out of the bag, perhaps just turning that question around when you first get it, when you receive the topic and when you're presenting it back. Scott did a very good job of reintroducing the question when he started off his topic. And that would be the opportunity that you would have to have turned that topic around when you were doing it. And yeah, so your use of a picture is good, but it did look wonderful to me. So I'm kind of very curious about your experience. Thank you very much. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Marcy, for those insightful feedback. And now, evaluating our first speaker is Christina. Christina, please provide us your evaluation.
Thanks so much, Jim. And thank you, Ruby. What a gastronome of organization you are. What a fabulously well-prepared speech. I'd just like to go through some of the points on the evaluation of what you did really well and some of the things that maybe you could try for next time. There was absolutely no doubt about the clarity of your speech. It was about the virtual celebration, the planning, organizing, and implementing, and how you did that with the members. And I thought that was very clear from the beginning and point by point as you went through your speech. Your voice, as far as vocal variety, you share lots of enthusiasm, but I was trying to think, what's the expression to describe it? You have a very almost academic tone or teacher voice, and you're telling and telling and telling. When you stopped for a minute and you said, who's going to look after this? What happens next when you're talking about a meeting? You changed totally. It was much more of letting us see what was going on. And I would suggest that you try that more often. Allow some of the different emotions and different pace and volume to creep into your speech. Your eye contact was sort of, I could tell you're looking at your notes, but try to look up and really speak to that flipping camera, which is so hard, but try to actually engage, because that's our only way online. Your images, I love that you had the Rising to Higher Ground behind you. That was tremendous. You were extremely aware of the audience. I love that you gave a shout out to the team members and expressed how you worked with each of them. Extremely confident and very, very well organized in your presentation. ACE, and you followed your ACE all the way through. There was a lot of interest because we were part of it. And for the people who weren't at the actual event, you actually filled them in on how you got to being part of that event and what it looked like. There was, your conclusion was, therefore, in conclusion, apply ACE and ACE your next event. And I think you could be more creative than therefore, in conclusion. Trying an event, you have to plan something. I suggest you try ACE, ACE your next event. And by your tone and your pauses, we'll know it's your conclusion. One of the recommendations was to share what you learned as a leader. What was your experience? And I think, and the impact of the event. You did really well on telling us about the social media, but how many people actually attended? What was their comments after the event? And I think you could have rallied some of those facts. Summarize your learnings. You learned how to use a minute by minute. You learned how to do a weekly agenda and keep people on task. You learned how to take a real event and put it online. What were your summary, or what would be your summary of events or experiences that you gained from doing this. I loved your ACE. I loved the 7 sessions that actually happened at the event. And I think your kudos to your team members was very sincere and much needed for concluding in this event. Great job, Ruby. You are an ace at organizing, and we're fortunate to have you up there. Back to you, Jim.
Thank you, Christina. That was wonderful evaluations, and certainly we can all learn from that feedback. Our second evaluator is Shelley, providing feedback to Tammy. Shelley, could you please provide your evaluation?
Yes, it's my pleasure to speak to Tammy's speech. I have to admit, when she told me what the title was, I had to email her and say, what's the title? I really mean it. What is the title? And she said, no, what's the title is the title. It was like a scene from Who's on First. And so I will say that I now clearly understand it. And it was a great title. And one thing you excelled at was creating this interesting postulation of what is a title and what is the content. And I love that dynamic of where you were expressing your experience with having a contradiction in terms or even losing track of what the title was. You had a strong opening. I love the way you said contests were a whirlwind, and it pulled on your heartstrings when you listened to the speech. And you even had a way of emoting that. So I felt the way you felt when you listened to speeches. You had great enthusiasm. You had interesting points. You had good pacing, and you had riveting and engaging language. You also pulled out a prop. You pulled out a book, and you were able to get our attention with that. It's always a great challenge when you do that, because you realize that you might lose your way. You also had nice pauses. So Tammy, I'm going to tell you something that is a contradiction in terms. You had great pauses, but you may want to work on the fact that sometimes too many pauses can leave the listener lost as to what is the end of the sentence. Just as you were talking about, a title doesn't always remind you about what the speaker is talking about unless you hear it again. When you're reading from your notes, there are pauses as you switch back and forth trying to find your spot. And I found myself a little bit lost as to what is she talking about? I've lost my way. So that leads me to what you want to challenge yourself. Of course, we all need to look into the camera. We know that. But when we are reading from our notes, there's another thing that happens, which is the flow. So a speaker needs to have a flow that is logical, that takes you to a place that you're interested in going. But when you're reading from your notes, it's a double challenge, a double whammy to keep yourself from stopping and keep your listeners engaged. It also inhibits your vocal variety. I know you were working on those things, but those darn notes, as Christina said, that darn camera, I'm going to say those darn notes. We need them, we love them, but we have to love to hate them. So all in all, your speech was a great point. Interesting, fascinating. Thank you. But I think you can do better if you let go of the notes. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. Another wonderful feedback to our speakers. So this wraps up the Toastmasters responsible portion, I suppose I could say it. So thank you to the table topic participants, the speeches, and also the evaluators. I'm going to pass it on to Leah to evaluate the rest of the meeting.
Thank you, Tim. So the purpose of the general evaluator is to provide feedback for the meeting in general and evaluate the evaluators. So I'll start with my evaluation, and then I'll move on to introduce the grammarian, counter, and timer to share their report. So today I thought the meeting was really great. Monica, you did a great job as chairperson to get the meeting started on time, and you introduced our guest today. Ben, I really liked the word that you chose. It was really easy to fit into our meeting, and I thought it fit in really well with the meeting theme. Next time, I would suggest maybe adding the definition into the chat as well, just in case people forget what the word meant. But great job. Next, Bob with the joke of the day. You honestly had me so worried. I had to stop and just hold myself because I thought of a dog and I just couldn't even imagine. But that added shock value really made me chuckle, and I think it also made other people laugh. It's a great choice of joke. So now to move on to our evaluators. Marcy was our table topics evaluator, and she is always really great at providing very positive and encouraging feedback. I think you provided really good constructive feedback for everyone today. I liked how detailed your evaluation was, even in such a compact amount of time. It seemed like you were still able to fit in some really good feedback. Next time, I would suggest maybe having your notes in front of you, maybe just in front of your keyboard or something, so you're not just turning to the side when you have to refer to your notes. For speech evaluators, you both also did a phenomenal job. Christina, your evaluation was very well done. You shared some really great constructive feedback for Ruby and also for the rest of us. And Shelley, yours was also well done, and I really liked how you started off with some humor. For both of you, I had to really dig deep to try to find some feedback since you both did an awesome job. The next time, I would suggest maybe standing up or playing a bit with the distance you speak to the camera, just to take things to the next level, because you're already doing such a really great job with using your hand gestures with the camera. So now that wraps up my portion of the evaluation. I'd like to now call upon our grammarian, Catherine. Can you please share your report?
Hi there. As the grammarian, it's my responsibility to pay close, I can't remember this now, close attention to all speakers and listening carefully. Have a couple of, I don't have anything negative that I could come up with. I do have some positives though. Shelley, with your descriptive language for your table topic, so much fun. And I also homed in onto the word trepidation. It really gave a good feel to what you were going through. And Sheree, your comment, the taste of the Holocaust, really pushed home how you felt about that. And then let's go on to Ruby. Yeah, the acronym that you used, the ACE, I thought was beautifully used. What else have I got here? And also your phrase, a well-oiled machine, really gave a good visual to what was being said. And then finally, Tammy, I loved the comment, personal strings of storytelling felt really powerful to me. And yeah, I think that's all I've got time for. But thank you.
Thanks, Catherine, and great job. I think that was your first time doing grammarian. Awesome. Now I'd like to call upon our counter, Masood. Can you please share your report?
Well, hello. Well, the purpose of counting R is not for us to charge you, but find the pattern of the filler words that you're using in your conversation. Maybe you can be mindful of it, and for next time that you're speaking, maybe you can reduce them. Scott, I'm not going to pick on you because you're a guest. I want you to be back, but you have a couple of vowels. Monica, you had one R. Jim, you had few R, ums, and so's. Stephen, one and I'm not counting more than 5. So if I say 5 plus, that means that I stop counting. Shelley, you were very good at your table topic. You had one like. And Shore, you had 2 ands and a couple of so's. But Shelley, when you went to evaluation, I think we should catch you off guard. Then you can because you speak without the R's when you're doing table topics. But you had a couple of R's, and Leah, you had a so and some arms. Shelley, we mentioned that. Christina, you had a couple of R's. And whoever I didn't mention the name, congratulations, you were utilizing the power of silence perfectly. Back to you.
Thank you, Masood. And lastly, I'd like to call on Doris to share the timing for the evaluation section, please.
Thank you, Leah. I'll give the timing report for the evaluations and the last part of the meeting today. So Marcy, you had 3 minutes and 48 seconds. Christine, evaluating Ruby's speech was 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Shelley, 3 minutes and 4 seconds. Leah, 2 minutes and 23 seconds. Catherine, 1 minute, 21 seconds. And Masood, 1 minute and 42 seconds. Thank you very much. If this had been a food prep, I would have been a gastronome after today. Thank you.
Thank you, Doris. And that wraps up the GE report. I'd like to pass things back to Monica, our chairperson.
Okay, thanks. So today we're just a little bit behind the schedule. So we just have a quick chat with watcher Helen Zhang. Please provide your observation.
Hello, everyone. My role is to help you to have a better image, let all the members to see your face better. So again, don't put a bright light on your back. That will make your face in a shadow. If you can't turn your camera towards a bright light on your back, maybe try put a mirror in front of you or a white paper, or Tammy, maybe you can turn off your ceiling lamp. Try that way. I know it's weird to sit in a dark, but maybe that works for your camera.
They might lock me up if I'm sitting in the dark.
Thank you, Helen. So we are coming to the end of the meeting. So before we do that, I would like to check with our management rep, Scott. Scott, would you like to share any comments and recommendation for today's meeting?
Sure. Thanks very much, Monica. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, thanks for the invitation. It was a great pleasure to sit through this. I actually had to start paying quite a bit of attention after getting called out early by Stephen to make some comments. So I appreciate that, and it did force me to pay attention. So thank you very much for that. A few other regards. Learned a little bit about my coworkers here, Tammy, and what she does on the weekends. You know, I thought she was at the food bank volunteering and doing some good that way, but she's actually reading some questionable novels on the weekend and other times. So that was of great interest. The other thing was, I think it was a poster that you showed, and it was Matt Fox on the poster advertising for Toastmasters. You know, I know Matt. Matt's a great guy, but you might want to rethink that one a little bit. I was thoroughly impressed with how organized this meeting was. I mean, looking at the agenda, you were down to 2-minute intervals, and you guys stuck to the timing, the involvement, the engagement. It was tremendous. Also, I've never picked up on it before, but the hand waving, I think that is fantastic. That's just awesome. I don't know if that's what is done today in this new world with video conference and things like that, but I just love it. It's fantastic. What else did I note here? Ruby and Tammy, you did a great job, both of you guys, on your presentations and your speeches. I thought it was fantastic. Made me listen. I was intently listening to both of them, so it was fantastic. What else did I hear? Yeah, also throughout, I was sort of impressed by how everybody adopted to video conference. You seem to all have it down pat. It's a new skill for me. It's a new skill for a lot of people in the work environment. I have to get back to it. There's different platforms out there. There's the WebEx, there's Zoom, there's other tools. But you guys seem to have it down pat, so congratulations for that. And I think it's a tremendous tool and way to communicate, not just during COVID, but in the future, as we get out of COVID, just everybody's going to rely on this, I think, as the normal way to do business. So you guys are going to have a foothold above everybody else in mastering this new communication skill. So congratulations. Thanks for the invite, and have a great, safe day.
Okay, thanks a lot, Scott, for your great comments and the encouragement. So now, do we have any announcement from VP or anybody else? Yeah, Tammy, please.
We have some big announcements. Since you guys are all part of District 42 and Division D, we are actually having a contest this weekend. We actually started at 9 a.m., but if you could come early, we will be opening up the doors at 8:30, and the contest will start right at 9. And come and help support and cheer on Shelley. And our other Lisa, who's not here today, she's doing humor speeches. Shelley's our table topics master, and looking forward to these contests. And come out and cheer them on and help support our group, which is great. And also, please sign up for the Division A and D of Join Together on November the 25th, which is a Wednesday evening. And we start off at 6:30 that evening, but the doors opened at 6. We will be doing our next run of leadership training. So you guys did a phenomenal job of getting all 7 of 7 officers there during the June through August. If you guys can do 7 out of 7 again, which would be phenomenal through this session, and we even have an opportunity where you may become a winner. Just saying, but you got to show up and you got to answer some questions correctly. But please do engage, and looking forward to you guys all attending and being part of that. So on to Marcy.
I've just got a quick thing. If you are not a contestant, or if the contest on Saturday morning, you will be able to catch it on YouTube. So look at District 42 Toastmasters. So it's D42 Toastmasters on YouTube, and the contest will be live streamed there. That is the only link you require if you are not a contestant or an official at the contest.
Great. Great, thanks a lot. So, yeah, please join the contest over the weekend as you can, or if not, just watch on the YouTube channel. So now I think I would like to close the meeting. So adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Have a great afternoon.
Have a good day.
Well done, Monica.
Monica.
It was wonderful, Monica.
Yeah. Well done, Catherine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great job, Jen.
Is that actually the right way to go about it? I felt completely.
Yeah, it worked good.
It was all right. Okay.
Yeah. It's sometimes when we're in that 1 to 3 minutes. Sorry, I was like 45 seconds over, but
yeah, I was over. I had a whole bunch of other stuff written down. I just didn't keep on going.
I thought you did a great job of using the word of the day.
Me? I don't think I used it.
Well, overall though, I think it's
generally so.
To do that. Wonderful. Thanks, Doris. I'm going to say goodnight. Thanks, Stephen. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, have a good week. Bye-bye. Okay.